In this video, we are going to talk about the topic data types. So, as the name represents data type, that means the type of data we are using. So, if we talk in the programming language, then data type can be defined as the type of data we are declaring in a program for variables or functions. Let us see an example that we have a data 10. So, it is our integer data and it is defined with the data type int. If we say that we have the data as triple A. Now I want to store a string. So I can use the data type char. So what is a data type? Each data type has a storage. That means if I talk about int, that means if I want to store the integer data, then int can store 2 to 4 byte data. So let us see the data types in C or data types. We have four parts: basic, derived, user defined, and valueless. First, we will see the basic data types. Basic data types are the data types which can store integer data, character data, float data, and double data. Next, derived. Derived means that it is derived from any other data type. Like if I talk about array, that means I can store more than one number at different locations in the memory. So these all are the integer data, and I can store more than one data. So that is our array. Let us see more about data types. We have int data type, that is integer data type. If I want to store any integer data, for example 10, then I can take int data type, then variable name, then we will give the value to it. For example, now here in our memory I stored 10 on the a variable. Next we have char data type, that is used to store one character data. Char can store one character in its memory, like as it is shown here that h is stored in the memory location and its variable name is a. Next we will see the float type. In the float data type, we can store the decimal data. For example, I want to store 2.8, then I can store the data using float data type. Next, double data type. Double difference between double and float is that we can store, we can take more memory in our storage to store our data. Next, this is a basic program of printing hello world. We will write here our data types. Like first of all, we are taking int as a, and I want to store 10 is this. Now I know that a 10 is stored in a variable. So let us see if I want to print or know that what is being stored in a variable, percent %d, and here I will print a. So I am using here percent %d. So if I want to print the integer data, I will use percent %d. So here I got 10, and now we see that we declared the integer data. And now next we see if I want to take a float data, that means I want to store a decimal value, I will use the float data type. Now let us print. So here I am going to use percent %f because f is used for float data. P. Our variable names should be different. So here, because we are not taking the next line, so it had print printed 2.4 in the same line. Here I can write. Now it will print our output of it in the next line. So now let us see, if I want to store a character data, then I will use char data type and I am giving it a. Now let us print it. Now here we will use %c to store character data. Now let us see the output of this function. Here it stored a. Now we have seen that int data type, float and character data type. Now let us see next the user defined data types. Let us see the storage size of these data types. Character can store 1 byte data. Integer can store, int data type can store 2 or 4 bytes data. Float can store 4 bytes. Double can store 8 bytes. And short is a type of integer, means int, and it can store 2 bytes. Let us see that void type. Void means nothing. So in this, what we will do when we are declaring functions, we can give it the data type void. That means it should not return anything to us. We will see it practically further when we will create the functions. Next, we are seeing the user defined data types. User defined data types means it can be defined by, it is created by a user. For example, integer is a built-in data type int. So if I want to store more than one integer data, I can use arrays, which is a user defined data type. That means I am creating an array that can store here up to 4 elements. So this is its syntax, that if I want to create an array, int, then variable name, and in square brackets we will provide the size of the array. That means how much elements we want to store in our array. So we can see that, like, this is our memory, and here I want to store 4 elements. So now in my memory I can store here 4 integer data. So this is our array. Let us see the example of an array first. I am creating an array with the name array and giving it size 5. Now here it will store 5 elements. So now I can give it elements here only, or I can take user input by using the for loop. These are the loops that we will discuss further. Now let us declare it statically that I want to store 5 elements. Let us store 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now here I created an array which can store up to 5 elements. Now let us print the 5 elements, or you can see the output here that it displayed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which we here stored in an array. So this is the for loop that I used to print these 4 elements, because we cannot print this directly through this method, because here I want to jump from one location to another. So we have to use any kind of loop to print an array. Next, let us see the second user defined data type, that is our pointers. Pointer is a data type. It stores the address of any other variable. For example, if I have a variable a and it stored 10 11 in it, and it has some memory location 1 1 1. Now what will this pointer, now that I take that this is our pointer type of data. Now this is our pointer kind of data. What will it store? It will store 111, which is the address of this variable. So what this means, that a pointer variable stores the address of any another variable. It do not have any kind of data. So let us see an example of pointer variable. All we take a variable int var and its value is 10. Now let us print the value of var variable var. Now let us create a pointer variable. Pointer variable is very similar. Like if I want to make a pointer, I have to, in front of it I have to take asterisk sign. Then I will give normally any name of my variable. Now int asterisk ptr is the pointer variable, and if I assign address of var to it, it will store the address of variable whose value is 10. This address operator is used to give the address of that variable. So from here address of the variable var will be assigned to pointer variable. Now let us print that whether it print the pointer variable's address or not. So now as we are seeing that this is printing our variable's value as well as the address. Let us write here to print, to go to the next line, so that now it is clear that this is the address of the variable var and the value of variable var is 10. So next we will see the struct data type. Struct data type is used to create the new data types. Like if I want to take data which is one side it takes integer data and other it will take char data, character data. So I can create a new data type which will take int and char data, and this is done with the help of. So our last data type is union. It is a special data type that is used to store the different data type in the same memory location. So this is a data type which is used to store the different data types in the same. For example, if I want to store int, integer, float and char variable, char data types at the same location, I will use union data type. So this is all about our data types. Please comment for any